All right, thanks, John. So today I'm going to go through, I guess, the core parts and principles of Schoolbox and what it is and what it does. So we're going to first start off with logging into the system as a teacher and look at it through a teacher's perspective to begin with. I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of the functions, but also with a slight lean towards the 14.5 functions. We just made our latest release 14.5 gold today, so that email went out to all of our customers just before we came here. So this is now available for all our customers to start deploying onto their servers. When we log into the system, the first thing you'll be presented with is what we call our dashboard. The dashboard is the idea of a portal delivering information that's relevant to you and your role within the school. Every user role in the system has their own unique dashboard, and everyone's dashboard has their own unique information presented to them based on who they are, where they're located in the school, and what role and what function they have within that school. So it's a very personalised experience designed to bring you closer to the information that's relevant to you in the school without overloading you with too much information that is, I guess, all of this stuff that's going on in the school, just the thing that's relevant to your particular role. Looking at my dashboard, some of the features that we have here. Firstly, we have my timetable for the day. As a teacher, I only have one subject on today, and I've got the ability to jump in there and mark that attendance. So personalised delivery of what I've got on for the day. Through this dashboard, we've also implemented some marketing type material, because it's not all about raw information. It's sometimes nice to deliver some of the prettier marketing messages as well, and we work closely with the marketing team to deliver that marketing message through the system as well. Moving down, we have buttons through to the quick areas of the system to access various features and functions of the system: resource booking, SynWeb portal, staff directories, calendars, due work. All of those systems that are integrated into the system can all be accessed through our little tiles widget here. You can build your own tiles widgets and manage these and add your own icons and all those types of things directly into the dashboards, and configure these for the different roles for the users as well. So parents will have different widgets to students. Further down, we've got some things like the news headlines. This portal has a full news system built in, and that allows you to deliver school news, school bulletins, notices, all of those things that we keep hearing over the loudspeaker system that don't necessarily need to be over the loudspeaker system, can be delivered through here in a secured environment and delivered right to the audience that matters, so you don't have to go and deliver them out to the whole school. You can funnel them down to particular users, students in the junior school or students in the senior school, or even down to the year level as well, so you could be delivering specific messages to a year level. Some other things that we have built in are our calendar. So there's quite an advanced calendar system, and I'll go through that specifically and how that all works. But the calendar is made up of all the events that are relevant once again to you, and on the dashboard it's just showing you what's on for today and tomorrow, so you can quickly see what information is available. Some of the other key features to point out while we're on the dashboard: up here in the top right hand corner we have our little bell. That little bell connects into our real-time notification system. That real-time notification system allows us to deliver messages to users whenever something happens within the system that's relevant to them. That could be that their work is overdue, it could be that they received a grade, it could be that someone responded to their comment in a forum or on the social stream. Any of those things that are relevant to the user are delivered directly to them via a little notification message. Those notifications can be configured to be received in a variety of different ways, currently via the pop-up here or via email. And we also have a digest email that can summarise into a newsletter, so you can have a newsletter that go out to parents automatically generated for them. And we're also exploring the possibility of delivering them via push notifications. So we're in the process of working now on a mobile app that will allow those to be pushed out to mobile phones. So you'll be able to unlock the full power of those notifications directly to the user's mobile phone devices as well. Looking at some of the other major features, down the left-hand side, this navigation system allows you to build a unique navigation system for your school based on your users. So your users will get the exact navigation that's relevant to them and not a navigation that's specific for everyone. So you'll be able to deliver the links that matter to people through that nav. Below, you'll see my subjects and quick links directly to my subject class pages. And this is the core of the learning management system, and it's based around the idea of a classroom and an online virtual classroom. And because we're integrated directly into that student management system, we know exactly what subjects you're enrolled in and can provide those links directly to those class pages as soon as you log in. Teachers, students, all get quick links, and even parents can be allowed into those class pages in certain circumstances where you choose, so you can communicate with that whole classroom environment. I'll go more into those classroom spaces in a moment. I'll come back to those. But just below that, we also have the ability to have groups within the system. Now, we recognise that the school is more than just the classroom, and there's a lot of activities that happen outside the classroom, be it extracurricular activities, they could be committees, they could be interest groups, they could be careers areas. All of those other areas that have information and need to share that with the community can create their own groups within the system and manage those relationships. So we talk about the idea of democratisation of material and resource distribution, so you can actually create your members and they can actually manage themselves. They manage their own groups. You could have the chess club having their own group, managing their own members, and students can sign up themselves and receive notifications, and all of those sort of things can be self-managed. It does take the responsibility off IT to have to centrally manage all those relationships that are happening within the school, and pushes it out to the users to manage their own areas within the system. Up the top, obviously I mentioned the news system. I won't spend too much time on that. But the calendar is an interesting one because of its complexity. I'll just have to log in again. The calendar, why am I going out? I'm going as an admin. The calendar brings in a range of different data sources. So firstly, on its default settings, it brings in the full calendar from the system based on the school, based on your own groups that you're involved in, so your class pages, your groups, interest groups that have calendars, they all appear automatically in your calendar. You can also use this as a complete e-diary replacement, so you can be placing your own events in that calendar, and teachers can look in, parents can look into that calendar, and they can also be adding and editing events within that calendar as well. So you can use this as a centralised e-diary for students. Of course, some of the other sources that come into here, we don't have all of them turned on at the moment, but the timetable, resource bookings, due work, all of those things all come into the calendar as well. So you get a full picture of everything that's made up within your school in the one view. So it's that really complete picture of the whole school calendar in one place. If I actually log back in as a teacher, I would actually be able to see my timetable. So we'll just do that quickly. So now you can see in my timetable I've got a mix of both my timetabled events plus my school calendar and plus any activities and things that I'm involved in. These events coming through from the school are also filtered to my specific role. So staff events there will only appear for staff. So the events are filtered just for the particular user that they're relevant for. So everyone's going to have their own unique view of this calendar to avoid that over complexity of that particular user's view. Of course, we have the ability to import and export this calendar in live subscription feeds, so you can bring a calendar in from a third-party source, and you can also export it out to your own calendaring device, whether that be your mobile phone, your iPad, or any other device that you want to use as your calendaring system. You can take this calendar and put it on that system. It could be Outlook, it could be any other particular calendaring program. So you've got a lot of flexibility with how you use calendaring within the system. I should mention that this data here currently is connected into a live Synergetic instance, so this is actually coming live from that system as we query it. And same with the timetable view as well. That's obviously live from that Synergetic system. So any changes that you make to your timetable within Synergetic will automatically appear instantly within this system as well. Moving along as a teacher, I might go now, before I do that, I'll just quickly mention the search system. The search allows you to search anything in the system. It's unified search, but most powerfully it allows you to search people. So that's what we find most teachers are using it for, to look up a student's information, what work they have on, what their grades are across their subjects. So you can type any student's name into the system, and that will actually bring up, what should I search for? Dana. That will actually bring up Dana's profile page. I can then get access to all the information that's stored about that student in Synergetic and see if this information directly from here. So this is really useful for teachers to be able to quickly access this information, whether out in the field, or whether they're in excursions, or whether in their classroom. They can always look up this information and get more detail. These links, due work and grades, will take you directly into that student's work that's been set for them across all of their class pages. So you can see exactly when students have work has been assigned to them and when it's due. You can also see what they're currently achieving within their classes and how they're achieving those results within those particular classes as well. But going a step back a bit, we'll actually go back and look at it from a teacher's perspective and how they actually create these views for the student. So from a teacher's perspective, we have the submissions tab. And the submissions tab is, I guess, your gateway into all the learning management functions within the system. This is where you set work, it's where you mark work, it's where you track who has handed work in and who hasn't handed work in yet. For each subject that the teacher is teaching, they will have a quick link directly to their class page and all the work that's been set across that particular class. Any one of these items, I can see what work has been set and how many students have been assessed for it. This is a quiz. I can see exactly which students have completed that quiz, the grades that they've received, the marks that they received. It was automatically marked, so they've all got all those results directly back into the mark book for that particular quiz. I can also review submitted work and see the assessment items that have been submitted by the student. So here we can see all of the work that's been handed in. I can see the grades that each student's got, the comments, and all the data that's associated with this particular submission item. I guess what's new recently is the ability for us to grade in line. So now when I review this work, I actually see the work that this student has submitted. Nice smiley face, whoever drew that. So you can obviously draw and write on all of the assessment items that the students have submitted. You can do this in line in the browser. You can obviously grade and leave comments for the student directly from here. Once that's complete, I click Save and Continue, and it just steps me through onto the next student's work, so I can quickly review and move through the full list of students, marking as I go. One thing I should also point out is down here, it's very small, but there's a 93% there. That is actually how much that student cheated. That gives you an indication of the plagiarism score for that particular student. Clicking on that will give you a report of how where the cheating took place, what they were cheating from, the sites, the other students, all of that type of information regarding the plagiarism. Obviously this is just a Shakespeare play, so it's going to be pretty highly copied, so it's got lots of references to the Shakespeare play.
What format can students submit work?
They can actually submit work in any format that you allow. You have a whitelist that controls what they can format. In terms of this inline grading system, this inline grading system supports Word documents, PDFs and PowerPoint presentations currently. The system will also inline display video, images, text, HTML in the browser. For other file formats that we can't render in the browser, you'll be able to download those files and obviously open them in a local application. So it does depend on what the files are. But fundamentally it will allow any file that you wish to allow it to be uploaded.
It supports animated GIFs as well.
Does it?
Yeah, audio.
It also supports audio and things like that as well. So, a couple of other things about the submission system. With the submissions, we can grade in a variety of different mechanisms. So you saw before on that item there we had letter grades, but we also have the ability to grade via rubrics. So if I just go back a semester, I actually marked an assessment via a rubric in a previous semester. Here we can see the mark sheet for that entire class. All the students that have completed that assessment and the grades that they're currently receiving across the year and their grade averages. There's a bit more detail here around the weightings that have been set for those particular assessment items and also the visibility of those marks. At any time in the system you can actually change the visibility. If you don't want the students to be able to see the marks, you can hold them just in your mark book. If at any time you want to release those marks, you just update the visibility. And of course you can release them even further out to their parents to see those marks as well. So if you want to involve the parents in exactly what the students have been receiving, you can open that up to them directly through here.
Is that a teacher controlled thing? Can a coordinator go and say, I want all this Year 9 test to be available to parents at this date?
It is both teacher, school and course controlled. Okay, so when I say those three things, at a school level you can say the policy for the school, whether you're going to have parents in the system or not, whether they're going to be able to see grade data or not, at a school-wide policy setting. So you can control it at that level. At the course level, we have the ability to build courses and deliver courses to classrooms. those courses would typically be built by your faculty, by your heads of faculty or heads of department, and they would control, I guess, the way those were configured in terms of visibility, weightings, all the other information that is related to those particular assessment items. They would then be delivered to the classroom. The teacher has overriding control within their class space, but the defaults would be set by the head coordinator for that course. So ultimately we allow the teacher to control their class space, but we can set defaults that come in from the course level as well. Does that answer the question?
So it's teacher controlled at the end?
It's teacher controlled at the end, but there can be a school overriding policy.
Sorry, does the school policy override it?
Yes.
Or does the teacher override it?
The school policy overrides everything, but between the course, which would be set by your faculty, and the teacher can override the course setting. So they could, for example, they might be doing a review and they might not want the marks available while they do their review process. So they may set it to private during that. Once they're finished, they can set it back to public. So it's still got the ability for the teacher to control what exactly happens in their classroom. There's no, I guess, hard coding from the faculty about what they have to do.
And how hard is it to see, well, let's say, a curriculum coordinator to get an overview of what marks have been released to parents and what haven't?
That's all open.
Yeah.
Sheet's open.
All of this data is open to all the teachers, so they can look at any particular class and any particular student.
But can they get an overview?
No, currently there's no course level reporting on the cohort, so we don't have cohort level reporting. Something we'll be working on next year is to add in cohort level reporting, specifically around those courses. But at this stage, schools are still in the process of building courses and getting that to be part of their process, and that's been a journey in on itself. And I think if you ask most of our schools here, they're still working on the development of their courses and getting that to be consistent, because fundamentally you can't report on inconsistent data, so we need to get all that data consistent for the cohort reports first before we can get all those reports in place. So it's a work in progress on both sides, both the schools and from us as well. But yeah, expect to see that in the next year. And in terms of these rubric gradings, so just to give you a quick overview of grading rubrics and how they work, as an assessment item here, I can modify this and just show you quickly how the rubric has been built. We have an assessment item with the details of that assessment, and we're using a rubric result set here. We've got different mark types. We've selected rubric as the option, and the ability now to tick which criteria we're going to be assessing for this particular assessment. And then we can go in here and just edit the criteria that are displayed for those particular, or the descriptors that are displayed for those criteria. So we can build our whole matrix there. And we can also define default result sets as well. So if you've got standardized marking systems for results, you can mark those all in the system. Going back a step, when we're actually grading this, this rubric, obviously from a student perspective and from a staff perspective, everyone gets complete oversight of that full rubric, and they can come in here and mark and assess this rubric and grade it however they feel. So it's just a matter of ticking the boxes on which rubric result that you want to give that particular student, and then you can leave a comment and return that result directly to the student. So that's how you deliver a rubric result. That page there, you can choose once again the visibility, whether that's available to parents or not, so you can release that information directly to parents as well. Any questions about any of the marking or grading within the system? No? Excellent. Okay, well I might move on then into the class pages and how they function and how you can build content and manage your content within the system. So just looking at a particular class page here, and this is my Chemistry 3.2 page. Now, for my Chemistry 3.2 page, I've chosen to use more of a sort of social style of teaching. We do have a lot of different styles that can be supported within the system, and it really is up to you as a teacher, as a teaching body, within your faculty, to determine how you want to teach and deliver your content material within the system. To facilitate all of these different learning styles that we find within the teaching environment, we have a range of different tools that teachers can use to build their content, build their classroom spaces, and deliver their material. On this page you can see I've got a heading up the top, followed by, I don't know why there's a survey there, followed by the social stream and my ability to deliver content and material in a collaborative way to the students. Now this works very similar to Facebook or Edmodo or any of those tools that you might previously have used in terms of, I guess, social learning. This allows students to collaborate directly on your class page, sharing references, sharing links, but also discussing topics and asking questions with their peers. So it's a very powerful way to engage students online and get them to actually build the material and share content on your page without you actually delivering any extra material. Next to the side here we have our course outline. Now our course outline delivers the actual curriculum material that we need students to complete in order to complete this particular course. And this is what I was mentioning before. This is the course that has been built by the faculty and is delivered through all class pages for the students to complete. The course builder allows me to track what tasks, assessments, quizzes students have completed and what results they're getting as they go through the particular course. So I can see a progress report on how the students have been progressing as they're ticking off items, and I can obviously assess them as well, and they can self-assess their own tasks if we choose to allow them. So they can tick off if they've watched this video or completed this task, and then I can assess them, do a quick quiz, and make sure that they actually have learned something from that video, and then adjust the course as per required. I mentioned before that that course is actually flexible in my class context. So although this course has been delivered from high above in the faculty, as a classroom teacher I'm able to customise this and deliver my own unique course as well. So I can add tasks, I can reorder things and shuffle them around if I wish. I can change anything that I want about this particular course and manipulate it for my particular purpose and style. So you're not dictated to by the course. Of course, you can always go back up to the course level and make changes to the global course and push them out to the class pages as well. So if you're a faculty head and you want to make an adjustment or change the way the course is delivered, you can do that at any stage and push those changes out to all class pages as well. Obviously, this is made up of tasks, due work, quizzes, so you can have a range of assessment items that go into these that you can choose to test students' knowledge on. Some of the other tools that we have available and some of the other tools that we use in other contexts. So this is the classroom context, but there's lots of other contexts and styles of teaching and uses for the system. Those are all unlocked by all the different functions and tools that we have available in the system. So in here we have obviously a range of different tools that you can use. We call them components. Everything from news, calendars, blogs. Our tiles component that I mentioned before allows you to build nice GUI interfaces, and they're specifically useful down in the primary school when you want to create these really rich interfaces with big buttons and nice text. The tiles component allows you to build those nice, beautiful icon interfaces. The collaboration tools that we have built in, and a really strong part of our system is that idea of collaboration. We think technology is at its best when you're delivering collaboration exercises, and so we have a lot of collaboration tools within the system. And these are developed over the years. So you'll see here a bit of a timeline of how we used to collaborate over the internet. We obviously started out very early on with things like forums. We then moved into things like wikis. And then over the time we've actually moved on to social stream. And now the latest and greatest is this idea of real-time document editing. So we have our collab docs that allows you to create a document and have all the students in there writing at the same time, deleting each other's stuff. It's great fun. And having inline activities, much like Google Docs delivers today. Many of you will probably be using Google Docs already. So that gives you sort of Google Docs built directly into the system, delivering it straight to your students so they can use it quickly and easily. Of the learning objects that we have, obviously due work and quizzes we've already talked about, but also the ability to show who your class teachers are, show who is in the class, and the course builder and course outline functions that I've mentioned as well. Multimedia support is very rich within the system. We support a range of different media, so you can obviously upload video, audio, images, and we also have integration with third-party systems like ClickView so that you can actually embed that material directly into the ClickView system. I just updated the ClickView component actually for those schools that are using the system, the ClickView component now has this ability to click select video, and that will bring up the ClickView system and allow you to actually search, log in with your account, search for videos and embed them directly in the system. So it's all integrated into the system now, so it's very quick and easy. You don't have to go off to the ClickView site, find your video, then embed it. It's all
Excuse me, girls.
here.
Would Emily Attard please come to Student Services? Emily Attard and Amelia Johnson. Thank you.
The video player itself is fairly, I guess, unique in that it provides inbuilt transcoding of the video sources. So if you upload your own video into the system, it will automatically convert that into a format that can be played back on all devices and streamed over the internet. So it takes the hard work out of managing videos. It allows you to flip the classroom very quickly and easily. All you need to do is add the video player and post the videos. You can post them directly from your mobile phone or from your iPad. So we've got teachers who are creating classroom activities just by recording the activity on their phone and then posting it up onto the system. Very quick and easy to use, and takes the pain out of managing a whole lot of videos in the system. Some of the other things, obviously files and links are all the boring standard things you can have, but obviously required within a system like this. And we've also got the ability to drag and drop directly onto these files. So I can quickly pick up a file that I want to add in, and we'll find this picture here, and I can drop that file into the files component and upload like that. So it's very quick and easy to get files. We've also got integration into Google Drive. So what that means is if I want to post a file from any source, be it from, I guess, my Schoolbox system, from the files that I have in Schoolbox, from my network drives, my H drive, my network shares, your existing network storage drives, or if you're using Google, from your Google Drive, you're able to post files directly from those systems. So this has got all of my documents, so I can quickly select that image, and that then uploads it directly from Google. So in avoiding the whole process of having to download, you're getting your files directly from the cloud and posting them directly into the system. Now that same system works great for students that are submitting their homework. So if you've got students creating their documents in Google Drive and you need them to submit from their iPad or from whatever device they're using, they can now browse directly to their Google Drive and upload that file directly into your submission box, going through, of course, the plagiarism checker, and also allowing you to inline grade and return that to them all electronically. So it's a great workflow there with the Google Drive system.
When you say upload, is it just putting a link, or is it uploading and converting it to something?
It's uploading and converting it. Yeah. So we can embed documents as links as well. So you can embed a document that's linked, but of course then you have all the issues with permissions and sharing and all of those other things that go with linking to a document. So obviously Google doesn't have an easy way to understand all of the permissions that go on within the classroom. So this bypasses that by downloading it, uploading it into our known environment where we can then keep a store. We've got a copy of it for future reference as well. I should mention at that same time that Schoolbox has the ability to keep draft copies, so if you've got multiple submissions enabled, you can submit various drafts, comments on each of those drafts, and it'll keep a full version history of all the documents that they've submitted over the course of that assessment. So you can keep that history and keep it on file. Schoolbox does keep all of the submission data, marks, grades, comments, everything forever. So that means you can go back and look at last year's class marks for your class. You can look at what a student received every year up until they came into your classroom. All of that information is kept at click of a finger away, so you can go and look at what they were submitting last year, what files they handed in, what results they got for them. All of those things are just a click away for the teacher.
And will it upload from the just Google Docs or slides and presentations as well?
It's a good question. I haven't tested all of the types, but my understanding is it converts into PDF, and that then it does that for Google Docs and for slides. So they come out as PDFs. So moving on. So yeah, lots of Google integration. I mentioned also embedding documents. So I should talk a bit about embedding and how you embed content into the system. You can embed any third-party system into the system. We allow you to embed any YouTube videos, Vimeo, TikTok timelines, Padlets, Google Docs, forms, maps, all of those different sources can be embedded into your page. We've even got teachers who embed slide shares and things like that directly into the page. So you can make these rich dynamic content areas made up of resources from around the internet, creating, I guess, a web exploration task, which is really useful for the younger kids because you make a page that has all the material and content for them. You don't send them out into the internet, you bring all of the internet into your particular page for that particular topic. So just looking at some of those, I guess, topic areas. If I click on my particular topic here, I have a topic on macroscopic properties. I can have text, images, videos, a whole range of content can be placed into this page to create a rich area where students can come visit and get all the resources online that they need. Now, traditionally, teachers were creating, I guess, worksheets and handouts and all of that type of material. Today, we look to create these mixed modal areas where you've got video, you've got links to websites, you've got content embedded into it. There's a range of different sources, range of different learning styles that are all supported within this one area. And of course, this is linked back to that course object. So whenever a student is completing a course, they get links to these rich areas so that they can see the content material for that particular course at that particular time. And of course, this area here is maintained by your faculty. So your faculty works to collaboratively build this rich resource area. And this becomes a shared asset across all of your teachers within that who are teaching that course, and remains with the school also after the teachers move on. You've still got this rich resource that you can continue to reference as the next teacher comes in, and they can then build on what was built before. So it creates quite a dynamic space. So any questions about those topic areas? Obviously all of this is all drag and drop, so I can pick things up and drag them around and reposition them wherever I want. It's all very simple and easy to use. It works the way you'd expect it to work. Which have I got left?
James, show us the edit columns.
You really want to see that?
How'd you get that pretty pink and purple?
So obviously the pages, we've got our graphic designer up the back, so he wants me to show you how to make it pretty. You can, of course, edit all the colours and layout of the page. We can adjust the layout like that. You'll also notice that all the content is adjusting to the screen size. So this is key to the fact that the system works on any device. So no matter what device, whether it's an iPad or a small netbook or a large desktop, the screen will adapt to that size. So your content's always relaying itself out to be the most effective for the screen size that you're viewing it on. So it's that idea of being responsive in terms of the way it looks. Obviously I can change the colours for my particular layout to anything I want.
You've got to select the left or right column, no top column.
See. That better?
Thank you.
Now we've got a bright green page. Of course, we can change that on all the pages, on all the columns. There we go.
Could you explain just a bit about the fact that we don't have to use the course book as well? It's like really flexible class page.
Yeah.
Maybe use that other chemistry page.
So there's a range of different, I guess, teaching styles that could be used. This is just one example, like I mentioned before. Other examples include junior school, where you're just delivering content directly to the class page. David's probably going to show us some good junior school examples, hopefully. St Michael's has some great junior school examples of how they've created their cluster pages to communicate directly to their, I guess, their junior parents. So it's much more of a parent-focused classroom space rather than a teacher-focused, student-focused classroom space. So you can adjust the way you deliver your content material depending on your style and the way that you want to present that content. There's no right or wrong way of delivering the content. You can organise the tools in whatever form that suits your particular delivery mechanism. Obviously, we've got a whole lot of other pages here for different units. So we've got things like badminton, we've got kakadu. All of these different areas within the system can all have their own pages and their own content. Where's my horse riding group? There we go. So the horse riding group here has all of my material for horse riding, who's in the group, what they're doing. So we can use it very much as an extracurricular area. And this is where we see lots of usage for all the different areas of going on in the school, delivery of information to parents, what's happening, notices, news, specific for this user group within the system. So these people are self-managing their group, managing their membership, and delivering notifications and messages to people relevant to that particular area of the school. Okay. So I'll now go into some of our other modules and other areas within the system. So firstly, I'll just quickly go through the resource booking system. So built into the system is a full resource booking system. I mentioned it briefly with its integration into the calendar. But we've got this full resource booking system that allows you to load your resources into the system and make them available for students, teachers, even parents to book those resources through the system. So I can look at any one of these particular resources and find out when it's available and see exactly when it's been booked and make my own bookings for that particular resource. So in here you'll find the ability to make a booking on a time or from your timetable. So I can select day 5, period 4 and book that for that particular time. So you can book via timetable or via a specific time. And of course leaving notes. But importantly, this bit down the bottom, the ability to select related resources. Now this is really powerful because you can align other things with this particular resource. So this could be a room and I might want to book these TVs and they might be related resources for this particular room. So I can just tick that I want those TVs and I can tick that I want the seating layout in a certain way, ticking the options that I want, enabling me to notify all the people that are responsible for those particular assets. So the TVs might notify the AV techs, the seating might notify maintenance, and the room might notify the admin staff. So it will notify all the different people responsible for all those different parts, setting up that full booking on all of those parts to the system. So it's quite powerful the way it can I guess notify everyone of every part that's involved in a booking for a resource. Obviously it doesn't need to be that sophisticated. You can also just have things like sports equipment that you make available to students at lunchtime and they can just do basic bookings for just their sports equipment. So you can control what information is available, who can see what and what they can book at the same time. Does anyone have any questions about resource booking? Nope.
Is there a workflow in that, like an approval process?
There is indeed a workflow process. So we've got a fairly simplistic workflow process. Basically, it consists of you create a moderator or moderators for a resource. That resource can either be what we call managed, moderated, or free to book. Those moderators, if the room is managed, they have to approve everything, or nothing can be booked without them. They basically have to make the booking. For moderated, you can request a booking and the moderator has to first approve that booking before it's confirmed. And for free, it just goes straight through. So there's 3 different styles of workflow there, depending on what I guess the resource is. Our thinking was that you might have, say, the assembly hall being managed so that only the person who manages the assembly hall can book it and make those bookings. You might have conference spaces like this being moderated so anyone can request it, but it has to be first approved. And then you might have like I said, the sports equipment or the vehicles or the TVs or the laptop cart just being free to book for anyone. So you can have all those different types of workflows.
Reoccurring events?
Reoccurring events, of course. So when you do book this, you can reoccur this particular booking. So you can reoccur on time, and just repeat booking daily, weekly, fortnightly, monthly. But if you do from timetable, you can also recur on a timetable basis. So if you've got a strange timetable, 7 days, I love that one. If you've got a 7-day timetable, this will actually do the recurring booking for you on that 7-day timetable. Or you can book it on a 10-day timetable, it'll be every fortnight, so on and so on and so on. So it is aware of your timetable definition to be able to make those recurrences as well. Any other questions about resource booking?
Has any of your schools using it for science bookings, like have a list of standard cracks and they look for crack rather than the lab tech?
Yes, yeah, I have seen schools starting to load their science equipment and the sets that they have yeah, that's something that definitely can be done through the system, and I have started to see that the use case for that as well. But yeah, definitely anything like that. The system is fairly simple, but that's its power as well. Because it's simple, you can actually use it for a range of different things throughout the school. It doesn't sort of get overly complex, and it allows it to be used in a variety of different ways. Yeah, so each of these resources has what we call rules associated with them. You can see all the rules dictated down the side here. This is all the rules. If I can't actually edit this particular resource, but I can show you the controls for those. But this particular resource, it must be booked 5 days in advance, must be booked at least 30 minutes, may not be booked for more than 21 days. So you can obviously put all your rules in associated with that particular resource. Yep. Okay, so well, let's have a look at a parent. Should we go and log in as a parent now and see what a parent sees? Everyone up for that? All right. So, as a parent of the user of the system, typically, it would help if I could log in. So when I log in as a parent, now typically a parent has a very different experience to the system. Now the LMS functions, I guess, become slightly secondary in the context of a parent. We're using this more as a communication portal for parents. So they're getting information about what year levels they're in, what their students are doing, what information that's relevant to them, news, notices, other information that's specific to their students. As you can see here, we're actually using it very much as a marketing platform so that we can send notices back to parents. And all this is just HTML editable content that has been delivered to the parent via the interfaces that we have and the widgets that we have available. This here is our slider widget that we can control, putting sliders in. This is just a HTML area that's been put into the system, so a range of different tools. Now, as a parent, we've given them access to various different features. So we have a parent homepage, parent directory. So these areas are delivered specifically for the parents to get information, I guess, around the school, what's happening. Now we have schools that build their entire curriculum handbooks into the system. They build all of the information that parents need into the system, so parents can just log in and get everything that they need just by going through into the different campuses, finding the notices, finding all that information that's delivered for them through this system. As a parent, I also have a unique feature on my dashboard that shows me exactly who my students are, what their due work, grades, e-portfolios, calendars, but also importantly what classes they're involved in, and gives me quick links to those as well. In this particular scenario, we've actually not allowed parents access into the class pages because these are senior students. We don't want helicopter parents, so we've locked the parents out of the classroom. They are allowed to access those extracurricular activities, and that's just a policy decision that you can make where parents can go and where they can't go. You can obviously make those decisions yourselves. If I look at any one of these students, I can see once again all of that information that was available to the parent. I can see directly here. I can see who the teachers are. I can see what classes they're doing. I can double check all of the contact information is correct. Tim's going to talk a bit later about how we can update that information as well. So yeah, Tim's going to be showing the updating of that, I hope. So yeah, all of that information is obviously being drawn from Synergetic, so that's maintained in that system. Going through here, obviously I can see my students' due work, all the things that we could see as a teacher before. As a parent, I've got a complete overview of all of the work that students have and has been set for them. This is great for, I guess, engaging the parent in what's happening, allowing them to have discussions with their student, engaging them in, what are you doing for this activity? Do you know about this task? Have you seen it? All of those conversations that you can now have as a parent once you have that window into what the student's life at school is all about. Obviously for parents, grades are sort of important as well. So we give parents a grades report card that gives them an overview of how their students are performing in each class, allowing them to drill down and see exactly what they're getting across the class for all of the assessments that they've completed. The student hasn't completed anything, not very good. So yeah, you can actually go in and see exactly how your student's going, getting that real-time continuous reporting system up and running. We don't recommend that this replaces reporting at all, and I should mention very strongly that this is a very separate system to your summative reports at the end of semester. This is purely formative mark book data, so this doesn't replace your final reports at the end of the year, but it can give you real-time information, give you information into what's happening in the student. It's live, what's going on, and allow you to have those conversations with the student, with the teacher, when the problems are happening, and also giving the teacher that feedback as quickly as possible as well. And another teacher said to me the other day that this also, I guess, encourages them to be prudent with their data and making sure that they're keeping it up to date and keeping it valid, because now they know that they're sharing it with their parents and the students as well. So it leads to better data all over, and in terms of record keeping as well. I mentioned that all the data was available to look back on, so you can go back through the semesters and see how the student performed over multiple years. So you can look at any particular time period and see how that student has gone in any particular time range. In terms of the news and calendar, obviously we're delivering news and calendars specific for parents, so they're getting their own calendars, their own news that's unique to them, that isn't the same as all the news and calendars that were being delivered to the rest of the school. So you can see already that this calendar is quite different for the parent. Now, as a parent, I also have the ability to go into my particular students' calendars. I mentioned earlier that you could actually go and see what is in your students' calendar, and so you can actually go in and see what they've got set, what other teachers have been setting for them. All of those things can get that oversight directly over their students' diaries. Is there anything else that people would like to see in the system as a parent? Yeah.
Maybe you could show us role marking.
I can if you like. Yeah. It's fairly straightforward. It's just a role, but I'll show it for you. Is there anything else anyone else wants to see? So attendance is really a synergetic function. So all we're doing is providing an interface into the synergetic system when we're talking about role marking. We don't actually have our own attendance system. So we don't actually manage any attendance or any of that type of information. We do provide an interface so that teachers can quickly put their results back into synergetic. We don't provide, I guess, a role marking reporting system. Tim does all of that work. So synergetic would provide all of those systems, including the ability for parents to see the attendance and absentees and report absentees, and when students checked in via a key card. No. Not. Oh, yes, I do. But I'm not sure how much data's in it. Yep. So as a parent, one of the things that we do is we integrate what's called Synergetic Community Portal directly into our system, so that for the parents, they've got a seamless experience. Now, it's not going to be too seamless at the moment in my demo, if it runs at all. I haven't tested this recently. But the idea is that we embed all of that information that's coming from Synergetic into our system here. So for parents, they don't actually know that there's two systems involved. They're having the one experience. They're getting all that data, whether it be billing, attendance, reporting, all of the features and functions that Synergetic provides are being delivered directly through here. It's not working for me, I'm sorry.
Talk a bit about personalising notifications and global settings.
Sure. Okay, I'll just quickly show the role marking just before I move on. Because I had that question a bit earlier. So if you've seen Synergetic's role marking system, SynWeb, basically it's that function there. So if you click on the Mark Attendance button, you simply have the role. You have the attendance string showing you whether the student's been attending in the past classes. So you can see exactly when they've been available. You've got late arrival time, so you can set if the student came in 5 minutes late, you can put that into your record keeping. If you've got, if they're actually away, you can set why they're away, late, absent, those types of things, and all that data is just this is just an interface directly back into Synergetic's attendance marking system.
Daily org integration?
Currently not. Something we've been talking about, but we haven't actually got anything specific in that area at the moment. But no. But something that Synergetic does have in their system.
So let's say I'm a teacher and I've been given an extra and I have to mark the class. Do I have to go in and what do I do? Do I get a notification via this or do I have to get some other sort of notification?
At the moment, the workflow that most schools are using is that they're using SynWeb to mark their rostered on periods. If they've taken a cover or something like that, they're going directly through SynWeb rather than this standard workflow. So yeah, we don't have a specific workflow for bringing, I guess, the covers in through here. But I do want to get something like that in the system in the future.
Yeah, so Synergetic can synchronise. You can either do substitutes within Synergetic or you can bring it in from Timetable as the most common source. And that then creates a substitute within Synergetic, which then affects the timetable within Synergetic. So that's certainly available for James to pull through. That would then have an impact on the timetable there. The workaround at the moment for these guys bring it through would be a lot just jump into SynWeb and then it would be.
So that's a different application.
It's the Synergetic web client. So James has effectively got given that there's a direct integration with attendance that James has here, that's updating Synergetic's attendance records. It's seamless in terms of whichever system you're updating the data in. So James, say, submitted that attendance record there, and then you came into our Synergetic's attendance screen, it'll be the same data.
But what about a teacher and they've got their timetable on their dashboard? Does it show extras or cancel classes?
It changes it.
Yeah.
So from that viewpoint, it changes the timetable.
Yeah.
So the covering teacher sees it and the
I have to admit that most schools at the moment aren't managing that way. They're basically still doing it manually. So it's something also to look at your workflows within the school. Certainly the technology is there, but our experience has not many schools are actually managing it with a technological solution. So something to think about as well. I will now go through the sort of admin functions and what you can control within the admin system and how the admin system works, just to give you an idea of the types of things behind the scenes. So I'll just log in as my admin user. So as an admin user, I've got basically complete control over the system and full access, but we have this admin dashboard that's available for the system now. A few things to point out here. Obviously, we've got a breakdown of how the system's performing and what's currently happening within the system. Everything within the system is logged and tracked, so we keep a full log of everything that happens, whether that be logins, changes to files, errors in the system. We've got full logging on that. We've also got information on what connectivity is working, so whether your connections to all the different services that we integrate are all functioning and alive. Obviously, the system will keep working if those other systems fall over, but you will get degraded functionality. So it's important that all those green lights there are on and everything is working nicely. Obviously, with the roles here and the groups and users and people within the system, we do obviously manage and automate that whole process. So once again, we're using the data that's in Synergetic to automatically provision your users within the system. So you don't have to do any additional admin or user management within the system. It's all taken care of by the system. In terms of the users and the functions within here, we've got a whole lot of tools for managing users, bulk loading, all of those sort of things. But like I said, most of this is managed for you. So there's very, very rare occurrences when you actually have to use any of this user management functionality. Some of the other things in here, obviously the side navigation that we mentioned down the side is all easily built using a drag and drop interface here. We can build and customize our dashboards. So this dashboard here is what we were looking at before, and once again this is just a matter of dragging and dropping the components where you want them and adjusting what content is available within those particular areas. So you've got complete control over your full dashboard widgets. Once again, home pages, you can build your own homepage templates within the system, giving people a quick start, exactly what they need, what functions they have, and here are all those components once again all listed, and there's a lot of them as you can see, all the different tools that you can use to build pages. So pages don't necessarily just need to be class pages or course pages. We've got pages for all sorts of things. We've got a principal's blog over here where the principal's blogging. We've got pages for houses, where the houses are communicating about what's happening within their house. Thanks, Matt, for that one. We've got the library page. What's the library page there? So there's lots of different pages that you can create within the system, and these are all managed using the content management tools.
The idea is that everyone around the school who's looking after their respective areas are managing those pages, so it's really democratised in terms of the actual content management.
There was a question earlier about what files can be accepted by the system. Here's where we actually control what files are accepted by the system. This is our default whitelist of all the files that are available that can be uploaded. Obviously, you can customize this and add your own file types. We've got most of the standard ones already, so you shouldn't need to do too much work here, but if you do have something really strange, you can always add it in. You can also control the limits, the file size upload limits. This gives you good control over the actual usage and data storage usage on your system. So if you're running up against issues with usage or bandwidth for your school, you can manipulate that using these limits here for files. We also obviously have full usage reports that give you breakdowns on exactly what data is being used for and where. So here you can see exactly what files are being uploaded, where they're being stored within the system, who's using the most data, and if you want to implement some sort of soft quoting system, you can obviously go and have a quiet word to the people who are using the most data and make sure that they're using it appropriately. There is no hard limits within the system other than those file upload limits, but certainly this report gives you the insight and oversight to be able to control most of the issues that you would have with data storage. We typically don't find it a big problem for most schools though. The user can't get a report themselves. They don't have access to these reports, only the admin. We could certainly make this report available though if you would like it. But this is the report of the user and what they're uploaded into the system.
Just got time to show you applications.
Okay. Actually, there's other things more important than that, sorry. So I mentioned earlier about the grades. You can, of course, customize your grading systems. You provide the ability to build whatever grading system that you like. So it could be satisfactory, traffic lights, achievement levels, whatever grading systems that you want can all be built into the system, so you've got a range of different marking systems. We've got schools using everything from IB, Brisbane curriculum, we've got a whole range of different grading systems, and they can all be loaded into the system so that you can use any type of grading system you want. Of course, you can also build those grading systems in for your rubrics as well, so you can also build whatever criteria-based assessments you would like into the system. Finally, the messages area allows you to control exactly what notifications are sent and to who and when. Firstly, the digest schedule allows you to schedule emails to be sent out on a regular basis, notifying users of all the things that they've done in the system or have been done that relate to them. Clicking into global message settings, we can actually see all of the things that will actually send messages. Now, there's a lot of things that can actually generate a message within the system. Everything from all the due work type messages, forums, group management, news, grades, resource booking, social stream wikis, all of those things will generate notifications. And as a school, you actually control how those notifications are delivered and when they're delivered. Of course, there's notifications that are specific for parents, and there's notifications that are specific for students, so you can customize all those different things and how you actually notify people. So there's a lot of, I guess, flexibility here in how you want to notify people and when you want to communicate with them. We don't want to give people information overload. There is a lot of things happening. We've done some looking at some of the message systems. Most schools are generating about 1 million messages per month, and so you can imagine that can be quite daunting for users. So having good control over what's been delivered and when is really important for this system. Otherwise, they're just going to be bombarded with 1,000 notifications. So any other questions before I wrap up? Whoop.
Hardware files, pages, kids upload those.
They can, but what I recommend is that they do get converted to PDF when they're uploaded, mainly because we've had pages change the format 3 times in the last 3 years, breaking backwards compatibility at the same time. That means that if you go and try and open that pages document in 3 years' time, you're not going to be able to open it. I would highly recommend that you do upload it as a PDF. That'll also give us the inline annotating ability on that document as well.
So is that a setting that we make as an admin when a kid uploads?
No, so
He has to do it himself.
when the kid saves the document from Pages, it comes up with this little window and it has those 3 buttons, and they just have to select PDF.
There's not like a Google Docs and automatic convert.
No. Yeah, that is the document saving. And there's a few different workflows around Pages, specifically if you're using iPads. Are you using Pages on iPads or on Macs? On Macs, okay. In the context of iPads, when we're talking about Pages, we actually do a workflow via WebDAV, which allows the students to submit directly into the submission box via a WebDAV share, which means that students can actually hand in directly from their iPads without any extra messing around. In that context, then you can save just as PDF directly to that submission box via the iPad.
If you're using Keynote, you can just convert it to PowerPoint.
Yeah. Yeah, Keynote to PowerPoint. Most of the pages have conversion to standard formats. No?
Office 365.
Office 365. Okay, so most of these schools I don't think will be going Office 365 because they're Catholic schools. So you're bucking the trend. So yeah, we just had got a meeting with Microsoft a couple of weeks ago. They've released new APIs for us to use on October the 28th that we will then be implementing, and they'll be available in April next year. So just like the Google Drives integration, you'll have the Office 365 integration just the same as the Google Drive works.
I'm going to have to wrap it up.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problems.
Get
Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks for your time. Thanks, John.
Just going to have a couple of quick minutes, so if you want to jump up, have a walk, stretch the legs, grab a drink, we'll be back here in a few.